Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, appreciate you joining us here today. It is, we're live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, our website, and our apps. So all great places to find us. But it's Thursday at 1:30, and that means Eric Goranson from Around the House Northwest is here with us, as always. Always great to have you, and especially here in studio as well. And today we are talking about, well, you see it right there, homeowners insurance and renters insurance. Two very different but very important things. And Eric's going to be here telling us why.
Yeah, thanks, man. Always fun to be here doing this. And insurance is one of those big things. It's expensive, but at the same point, it's not that expensive considering the loss you could take.
Right.
And there's so many different things. Like with renters insurance, it's just fairly inexpensive, and you can do your shopping on it online. But there's some things with renters, for instance, that it doesn't cover. So if you've got your typical renter's policy, most of them don't cover like what's in a storage unit.
Right.
But if you have a homeowner's insurance, it does.
Oh, interesting.
So there's different things that cover and things that don't. So really helping understand what works and what doesn't with each of those policies. They're similar but very different. You think about a storage unit, for instance, that's covered under your homeowners like you would your car insurance when you go rent a car or something like that. Okay, that's kind of covered right there. So really understanding what your policy covers and what doesn't is a really big thing. So great example, like homeowners insurance, we see house fires on the news almost every day, right?
Right.
Happens all the time. And then you drive past one and you're like, wow, that's been sitting there for like 6 months and they haven't started working on it.
Yeah.
It's parked for so long as they go through. And that's for a number of reasons. And that's why you got to really make sure that you've got the right coverage.
Okay.
I've been driving by a house that's been basically empty for years. They're working on it on the way to my house right now. And you think about it, homes that are built like a 1950s house, that met 1950s building code.
Yeah.
There weren't engineers typically involved. There wasn't all these things. But when you have to go back and do a major rebuild, everything has to be to current 2024 code that's being touched.
So it's completely different then.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a 1950s house wasn't attached to the foundation. Well, if you're reframing that wall and have to meet a structural building code for that, now it has to be to that. So those grandfathers don't really account unless it's a part of the house that's not being touched. So if you lost the top story because a tree came down or something like that, all of a sudden now you're re-engineering stuff because you went beyond just a traditional repair. That grandfathering works there. And if you've got lead paint and asbestos or mold, all things that can happen in a house built, asbestos can be up into the 2000s.
Right.
And lead paint, not usually after 78, but before 1978, it was still common. So these are all things you kind of want to make sure that you've got the right policies. Are you covered for earthquake? Many times you're not. Do you have earthquake insurance? So there's a lot of different things. And I made this mistake myself, and I didn't get burned by it, but I had jumped online and found a good policy, locked it in, had it for a number of years. And then I talked to a buddy who got into the insurance world and said, hey, take a look at my stuff. And he's like, you couldn't build your house back for the policy you got. And it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Wow.
So we had to go through, and it's terrifying, right? So, if you've got a tool collection, is that listed in there? You need to have writers for things.
Specifically, itemize that all.
You want to make sure, if you just have normal tools in the garage, it's covered.
Yeah.
But if you've got a lot of tools in the garage, okay. If you've got jewelry that's above and beyond what the normal person would have, you might want to have a writer for that, artwork.
Yeah.
All these things you need to have listed on there.
Okay.
So really understanding what you have and what it costs to replace it is a big thing. And then who's paying for your lodging when you're out for a year?
Right.
Is that the insurance company? You're
Is
still
that
making
the insurance company? Is that something you could have?
Yeah, that should be in there. So that who's paying for that? Because otherwise you're paying for a house payment because bank still owes on it. They don't care. You're still writing a check. So these are things you want to make sure you've got covered.
Wow.
Because, okay, what's the market rate to be in that, maybe you're in a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home in suburbia. Okay, what's that going to cost to rent for a year?
Right.
Is that covered?
Yeah, well, everything's being rebuilt and
you
have to have somewhere to live.
Exactly. So these are things you don't want to be jammed into a 2-bedroom apartment if you've got, 3 kids and 2 dogs.
Yeah, let alone or not having someplace to go.
Right. So that's important. And the renter's insurance is a big one for a couple of reasons. One, liability if somebody gets hurt over at your place, that can help cover that as well. But somebody breaks in, maybe it's water damage and the unit above comes down and floods your place because somebody ran the bathtub over up top. Mm-hmm. Now you're covered. Now your stuff's getting replaced.
Okay.
Versus starting over.
Yeah, versus having to do that all from the ground up. And
Yeah, so there's a lot to this, but these are things, there's flood insurance depending on where your house is located, and that's pretty easy to figure out if you're in a floodplain or not. For many homes that are up on hills, it's not that big a deal.
Right.
Because, it's going to take a pretty major event to get
Right,
water
yeah,
there, but
yeah.
there's a lot of other things too. So really understanding what it costs to rebuild your house at current market level,
Yeah.
because think of what our homes have done over the last few years.
Right.
They've gotten more and more expensive, more expensive,
Yep.
more expensive, and same with building them back as well.
So all of that, all those, building expenses, everything's going to cost more. So is this something important, like if you do have a home insurance policy, to go sit down with your
Agent.
insurer? Yeah, your
Yeah,
agent?
talk to your agent. I mean, online you can go in and reach somebody at customer service and talk through it, but I tell you what, that local agent really understands what's going on in the marketplace here.
Yeah.
And so it's a little easier to talk with them versus somebody in a call center that you're talking to.
Gotcha.
Just common sense there. But that local agent really dealing with them is really nice, because that way you can have that conversation. They go, well, yeah, it's way more expensive to rent here or do this
Right.
or that. So, I mean, I've had some massive losses before. I mean, I was living in Seattle at one time, and I came home and had this old 1940s house, and I had the barn door style rolling garage doors on it. Pulled up, and somebody had pulled a chain onto them and pulled them off, and all my tools were gone.
Man.
And that's another thing too, is to find out how they cover those losses. Because for me, I was single dad and doing that kind of stuff up there. They said, okay, cool, we're going to cover the first couple thousand, but after that, you have to go buy those tools and then submit them, and then we'll reimburse you later. Well, I was going to have to go get a loan because I had about $10,000 for the tools I had to go purchase.
Jeez.
And wait for them to
submit,
take
and then who
60
knows?
days to get it back or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So understand how that whole process works so you're really covered.
Yeah, all right. So very important to go over all of that, and yeah, that's certainly something I'll be doing too, because now I want to figure out exactly what's covered online. But talking about, so that's going from homeowners insurance, renters insurance.
Renter's insurance is a little easier just because you can jump online and there's so many different things out there. Do your shopping, because you could have the same policy and have it be 3 times more online than somebody else online. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of little places out there that do it. And even when you deal with some of the big online people, most of the big name brand companies you see commercials on TV with, they're farming that out to another company.
Gotcha.
So if you can take the middleman out, that's always good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then do your research on reviews to see how well they are, because some companies are a lot easier to work with than other companies, as we know.
Yeah.
So figure out who's good, who's not.
Right. And it's one of those things too, where when you need it, you'll be happy you have it.
Yeah.
That you have a good one on there. So that's definitely something I encourage anybody. Don't think you can just skip on that. Do it. Get that insurance.
And the last thing is, walk through your home about every 6 months. Just take your phone out, run a video, open up your cabinets, walk through, document everything. Take 15 minutes, walk through your house.
Yeah.
Open it up, just slowly get it so you have record.
Yeah.
And especially with most of everybody's phones backing up into the cloud,
Right.
you now have record of what was in your house 4 months ago, 2 months ago, whatever. If you do that a couple times a year, you can see what improvements you've made.
Yeah.
You could sit there and say, hey, I bought the latest Xbox. I don't have a receipt on it. I can't find that. But when you're going around the house and it's there, obviously you have it.
Right. Yeah.
So you've
And
got some
that way you can just
documentation.
show, document everything.
Yeah. You got to show them that they got it. So if you have that major loss, you're covered.
Well, great advice as always on all of that. So follow those things. Let's talk about Around the House Northwest this week.
Yeah, we got a great show coming up this weekend. A little more spring oriented since the weather's going to be so nice.
Yeah.
So we're Perform Like a Pro. We're starting out. We're going to be talking about asphalt. You got that asphalt driveway maintenance. So we're going to go through, clean up the driveway. I had oil stains on it from my old truck. We had a big patch I had to do, and I wanted to try out a whole brand new troweling system that they make of a new actual new patch that is concrete based. So it's an actual concrete based product. So it worked out really good. I was pretty impressed. So you'll see me do that on there. You just mix it up and trowel it out, and it's great for patching those potholes as well as some pressure washing.
Nice. So what's one part of?
Yeah.
I love the sped up.
Oh yeah. I just work fast.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's how you get so many segments done every week.
Absolutely.
That's how it is, because there are a lot of segments on Around the House Northwest. So that's one.
That's one. We talked with Carolyn Blazowski, America's Healthy Home Expert. We talked to her about spring indoor air quality, what you can do to make sure you've got clean air, some of those really nice, tricks, tips, all those things, and how to monitor it so you can know basically real time how good the air is in your house.
That's great. That's definitely something, especially with everything, all the pollen, all the other stuff in the air, and
Yeah.
making sure that you have some clean air. So,
And
great.
she's also got at the end of that, you want to tune in if you're trying to learn about indoor air quality and it's something that you're really trying to get into. She's got a free summit. They've got like 40 international experts about air quality coming on, doing a free summit.
Wow.
It's over a week here at the end of April, so that they're promoting that too. So kind of a cool thing, free for everybody to join. So it's kind of cool for if you're really wanting to dive deep into it.
Yeah.
They got some good answers for you.
There we go. All right. So that's definitely something to check out there. So that's what, 2 segments out of like,
Yeah.
I don't even know how many.
Yeah, we just got
so
8 or
many.
9 in there. So
Yeah, so 8 or 9.
we're testing out some stuff. We've got some really cool new stuff that we're testing out. I've got a paint roller keeper.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is super cool. So my buddy, the Idaho Painter on YouTube, sent it over to me. He's like, you got to check this out. And it's from the Paint Life store. And it's basically a canister. So you take your paint roller, shove it in there, and it's squeezable. You can pull it off and seal it up in there so it doesn't get dry. So in between coats,
Yeah.
it just goes into this tube.
Oh, that's
And you
cool.
can write on the end like what room, what color it is, the date. It'll store for months in the fridge.
So you don't have to
snaps
waste
it in.
all of that extra paint and
Who hates
yeah.
cleaning paint rollers?
Yeah.
It's the worst.
I hate yeah.
It's the worst part of
absolutely.
painting.
The worst part.
Sitting there cleaning it, and so you're not wasting all that water as well, or just throwing them away. So you could
So it'll
literally
just
store it
squeeze
for
it all out and
Well, it just actually just stays in that tube.
oh, it just stays in the tube.
in the
Yeah,
tube. So, you
it's-
just
so
pull it
it's-
off, and it
so
just seals up.
Oh, that's great.
So you just put it. I mean, if you're painting the whole house, you can go through and do that. So
Yeah.
super cool.
Very cool. All right. So
And
those
affordable.
are
Oh,
some
yeah.
of the segments for this week. I know we don't want to give away.
No, we got a lot more coming. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a jam-packed show ahead.
So let's let everybody know, as always, when, where, and how to watch.
All right, if you missed last week's show, don't worry, you can catch it tomorrow, 8 a.m. Fox 12 Plus, and of course the show we're talking about right now, 10 a.m. Fox 12 Plus on Saturday. And if you're out doing stuff, no worries, 6 o'clock on Sunday, same channel, Fox 12 Plus. And again, you can see Friday morning at 8.
There we go. All right. Well, Eric, as always, thank you for being here with us.
Thanks, brother.
And thanks, everybody, too, for tuning in. This is Fox 12 Now. Coming up at 2 o'clock, we've got more for you. We're going to be talking to 2 of the people running the Formula E Grand Prix, the Portland one that's coming back. It was really great last year. They're back for 2 days this year. So we're going to talk all about that and what to expect this year. And even if you don't know anything about it, we explain that as well. So that's coming up at 2 o'clock. You definitely want to tune in for that. And of course, if there's breaking news, we'll have that as well anytime between 1 and 4 p.m. right here on Fox 12 Now. So we will sign off for a minute. We'll reset. So whatever platform you're on, just come right back there and you can watch us. I do recommend downloading that Fox 12 Oregon app. That is a great way to watch everything that we do here, and that way you can watch all of our past segments as well. But we'll be back in, looking at my clock, 15 minutes. So I'll see you then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.